Hey everyone, I'm Chris, and this is Cue the Credits. Welcome back to Cue the Credits, the home of everything physical media, boutique Blu-rays, and the art of collecting. I'm going to be honest with you, I'm exhausted. October's been a really, really long month. I mean, you can see how long this episode is right there. Wow. But this is everything that I watched in October. And we have a massive 42 films. We've got a lot from the 31 Days of Halloween challenge. Spoiler alert, I didn't manage to finish all 31 films. So we'll clean some of those up in November. But I got a good chunk done. But watched over 31 films. So does that kind of count? Maybe. We'll see. So, as always, I've got Letterboxd here. Let's get into it. First up, we have got Trick or Treat. So, this is actually a first time watch for me. Part of the 31 Days of Horror. Mr. Well, That Sucked reviews. This is one of his favourite Halloween films. It's a tradition on the 31 Days of Horror that Trick or Treat is always #1. And I can absolutely see why. This was a blind buy. As I said, it was a first time watch, and it is an absolute banger of a Halloween film, like of a horror film. I mean, I don't know why they didn't kind of carry on with the franchise, but it's also kind of nice that we just have this single one and it is top notch. 82 minutes long. I personally gave it a 4 out of 5. Like, great little horror icon in Sam, but it has just got so much to it, and I'm going to do it a disservice by kind of spoiling it if you haven't watched it, because there's a lot of twists and turns that you wouldn't necessarily expect to happen. So if you haven't seen it already, Trick or Treat, go check it out. You're going to be watching this like a little bit into November, I'm sure, so you might be able to get away with still watching it, but still, I mean, I would recommend just checking it out. And for the people who have watched it, if you know, you know. This is a 4K limited edition from Arrow. Transfer is incredible as well. So if you're thinking about wanting a physical media release, this is the definitive version. Next up was The Home. This is a 2025 horror release, day 2 on the 31 Days of Horror. And it stars Pete Davidson as a kind of down on his luck, as Pete Davidson always is, a guy who gets into a little bit of trouble and then has to go and help out at a local elderly person's home, and creepy things ensue. This was absolutely fine. It was a 2 out of 5 for me. It has a nice little bit of body horror, but it kind of feels a little bit long in the tooth. Pete Davidson isn't by all means bad in it, but it's just a bit fine. The concept of it though is quite cool, and the little twist reveal at the end is very interesting, and basically the last 10 minutes is a pretty fun ride, but the rest of the film is just a bit throwaway. It is available to stream on Amazon Prime Video in the UK. It currently doesn't have a physical media release in the UK, but I know that it does have one in the US if you're watching from over there. Next after The Home, I watched Tron Legacy. So this was basically just finishing off the film from watching it for my previous review for this 4K. I love it. I love this film. It's, you know, it's 4 out of 5 for me. Was gearing up to get ready for Tron Ares. There's not much I can say about it now compared to what I said about it in the review. 4K looks incredible, it sounds incredible, and this film is still an absolute banger addition to the Tron franchise. Next up was The Smashing Machine. This is the 2025 Benny Safdie directed semi-biography around Mark Kerr, the UFC fighter, and has Dwayne Johnson in the titular role as Mark Kerr. I had to go see this on opening day. It's one of my most anticipated kind of drama films of the year. I was really excited to see what Safdie did with Moulding the Rock, and honestly, I think he did a great job. Dwayne Johnson has a tendency to kind of let himself feed into the roles that he's in and takes over the production, and really sometimes does need a director to rein him in. Benny Safdie definitely did this and got a really, really good performance out of The Rock. There is a lot of different points in this film where it is a quite muted performance, and then there's a switch, and that's where you see that acting prowess really come out. Emily Blunt's great in it, though she doesn't have a massive amount to do. The supporting cast is also great. It's shot beautifully. I would absolutely recommend it. It's 4 out of 5 from me. I think we might get a Dwayne Johnson Oscar nom, or probably more than likely a Golden Globe, at least maybe a BAFTA. But I'm really excited to see like this part of his career where he's moving away from the traditional like rah, the rock rah, and going into some more dramatized and more serious roles, because he has got it in him to be a great actor. So let's see what happens. Next up, another 31 Days of Halloween, and that was Brightburn. This is another first time watch for me. It is produced by James Gunn. It's not directed by him. It's effectively Superman if he turned evil, still dropped in America. So it's kind of like Superman Red Son. This was a 3 out of 5. It's not a bad film at all. It's quite an enjoyable ride. The cast in this was really, really good. Elizabeth Banks as the mother, Jackson A. Dunn as Brandon, in the titular Brightburn character, really delivered like that kind of scary kid energy. And there's another film coming up in the list where there is scary kid energy, but I can safely say this does it better. Also, a kind of side note of having David Denman in this as the dad, obviously a semi-frequent James Gunn collaborator because he is Peacemaker's brother in season 2 of Peacemaker. So when I was watching this, I was like, oh look, here it is. He's got hair. That's weird. I mean, I want to talk with that, but still, Brightburn. Absolutely recommend checking this out. Next up, kind of got the instructions wrong from Mr. Well That Sucked, because day 4 of the 31 Days of Halloween was War of the Worlds. So watched War of the Worlds, realised that it probably wasn't that version, and let's just talk on this new 2025 version with Ice Cube for a minute. This is trash. Like, I'm wiping my eye because I could cry at how bad this is. Like, it is laughably funny to watch. It's available to stream on Amazon Prime Video, and you're probably thinking, oh, what, Amazon streaming War of the Worlds? It's because it is an Amazon advertisement for at least the last half of the film. Like, there's just, there's so much to unpack with this. First off, pretty sure Ice Cube filmed this for 95% in front of a green screen in his office at home, because he's like, oh my God. I mean, you've all seen the memes, right? I'm sure. But yeah, there's a bit where they have to use an Amazon Prime drone to deliver something, and they're like, it's the future of delivery. My God, you can't make up how much this is funded by Amazon. As you saw, it's half a star out of 5. I mean, I would give it 0, but on my letterbox, I sometimes don't rate films that I've been rewatching or that I've seen before. I just put a little heart, so it felt a disservice to those films to have this lumped in the camp of no ratings, though it would probably be like a 0.1 out of 5 if I could. So after finishing that absolute trash, and bearing in mind, watch Brightburn and then that excuse for a movie, this was like probably 10 to midnight or something like that, or it just clocked over to midnight. It was late. I needed to cleanse myself, so I watched the actual War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise. And by actual, I mean the 2005 version with Tom Cruise. This is far and away a much better version. My rating was 4 out of 5. In my opinion, it's an absolutely great Spielberg movie. I really enjoy it. I think it delivers the right amount of like creep, horror, and general thriller dismay of what could happen if there is an end of the world event. And it's kind of in the sense of like the reason why this new War of the Worlds is set and it's all computerized is because War of the Worlds has always been entrenched in like current times of when it was coming out. Obviously the first one was done on radio, and then this one has got more things that are kind of molded to the early 2000s, and then the new 2025 one is all technology, and oh my God, it's data. But this is a much better movie. Don't watch the 2025 one unless you just want to laugh for like majority of the time, or just pick up a meme compilation of it on YouTube. I'm sure that there's probably one if you look in the search bar. Not right now though, keep watching this video, but after, pop it in the search bar. Anyway, War of the Worlds. Next up, and we were on day 5 of 31 Days of Halloween, and that was Casper. Now, in my pickup video for this, I enjoyed the idea of getting the DVD because I thought it was going to have great DVD menus. They were fine. It was a little bit disappointing, but it was such a vibe watching this on a Sunday morning in DVD quality. Like, it didn't need to be like super high res and everything like that. It was just kind of nice and nostalgic. Casper is a 4 out of 5 of me. It's an absolute classic. I mean, kind of maybe just a 5 out of 5. Like, I love Casper, and there is a 4K release that's just come out. I know that I've just said that it's nostalgic watching it in DVD quality, but I kind of would like that for the collection as the best possible way. But we can, yeah, that's a down the line thing. Casper. Next up was Spawn. So this was for a review that I did earlier in the month. It's a new release from Arrow Video. This was a 2.5 out of 5 for me. This is hard. It's not a good movie, but it's also not a bad movie. Like, it is a fun time. This was the first time that I'd watched it. My best friend is an absolute Spawn head. Like, I am talking like has got every single Spawn comic that has been released, and I couldn't not pick this up because he's been telling me to watch it for an absolute age. It's a wonderful transfer from Arrow. Full thoughts, check out my video up there. But John Leguizamo's performance in it is just stellar, and that's kind of what bumped it up a decent chunk on that side of things. But this was a fun time. Next up, and there was a slew of secret screenings at our local Cineworld, and I'm pretty sure we went to every single one this month because there was 3 of them. Anyway, the first secret screening was Good Boy. This was the directorial debut by Ben Leonberg and stars his dog Indy, which is the goodest of boys. And as you saw, this was a 3.5 out of 5 for me. Thought it was a really, really interesting take and a bit of a switch up on the general horror genre. It's 73 minutes long. I think Leonberg knew that if it went on for much longer, it was gonna like taper out. It definitely clicked into gear when I was about to start checking out of it, so it kind of knows the pacing really well, and it is scary and intense in all the right ways. It plays with shadows and things like that. The fact that it took 4 years to make, and this was all done with his own dog Indy to get all these shots, like, it's needed to be applauded because it was done and shot really, really well. So if you haven't already, check out Good Boy. May still be in theaters when this video goes up, but if not, I'm sure it's going to be coming into streaming relatively soon. Straight after Good Boy, because it's a nice 73-minute. So got home, popped on day 6 of 31 Days of Halloween, and that was The Stuff. This is a film by Larry Cohen, and honestly, it wasn't for me. The general concept of it was really, really interesting. Like, it's some killer dessert that, like, are you eating it or is it eating you? I had some really high hopes for it. It was a 1.5 out of 5. I just couldn't get behind it. I understand now why people were moaning about the fact that Arrow put this out on 4K earlier in the year, because, yeah, I mean, is it one of those films where if it was really cheap, I might buy it to rewatch it in 4K? Maybe. And that is a big, big maybe. And it would also have to be like below £10 for me to pick this up again. This is going straight back to CEX to trade back in because, yeah, didn't really do anything for me. But the concept is good. I'd kind of like to see if it got remade with maybe a better director, but it also kind of does need to sit in that like B-movie area, because you kind of can't do this seriously. Either way, The Stuff, wouldn't recommend. Next up was another double feature day. It wasn't planned to be a double feature day, but because of this next title, I had to then watch a Disney film. So first up was day 7 of 31 Days of Halloween, and that was Hell House LLC Origins, The Carmichael Manor. Guys, you know that I've said about getting the heebie-jeebies, and you know I'm not a massive horror fan, but the other half is, so that's why we've got a lot of horror peppered in. And you know what? I like horror in the sense that if it makes me scared, then it's done its job. Hell House Origins was horrible. I was getting like heart palpitations. I was so like on like heart rate was skyrocketing. It was horrible. Like I just no. It has kind of made me want to watch the other ones. I've heard that number 1 is very good, and then 2 is fine, and then 3 is a bit trash. But this Origins one was, yeah, it was. It's just, you know what? It's not even like that scare. Like it's not scary. It's like reality scare, like because it could happen. Like these things could happen. It's all playing with like the blind spots of your brain, and you're filling in what could be going on, and that's kind of the beauty of this thriller horror. But yeah, I gave it a 3 out of 5. I probably would watch it again, but it is just, it's proper freaky. Like if you're if you're not into horror or scary, don't watch it, because it's gonna be horrible either way. And then because of that, I watched Bolt, because I just needed some Disney. I needed some comfort. I needed to like chill my brain out. And I love Bolt. It's just a good time. It's that like questionable part of the late bit of the noughts of the 2000s. I'm not even sure how you categorize it, because it's not 10s or 20s. Either way, it's like late 2000s. I really enjoy Bolt. I think it's a good time. But that suitably cleansed my brain, let's just say that. Next up was day 8 of 31 Days of Halloween, and that was Frankenhooker. This was a really good time. It is stupid, it is fun, like it's just a good time. Like it's ridiculous. It has got way more nudity than I thought it was going to, but then I guess if it's called Frankenhooker, you'd probably expect that. But yeah, I went in totally blind. I'd heard of it, but never like looked into any of it. It's hilarious. Like there is super crack in it. There is like Frankenstein-y bits. There's ridiculous gore. The only criticism is it takes far too long to actually get Frankenhooker, because that kind of probably should have been, you know, not right at the end of the film. That's my only critique of it. Would absolutely recommend checking out. It is available to stream on Prime Video. Next up was The Witch, and this was part of Cineworld's horror season. It was the 10th anniversary for it. Myself and the other half hadn't seen this before, so we thought, what better way than to watch it in the cinema. I personally gave it a 3.5 out of 5. I thought it was really well done. It's definitely, you can see that it's Robert Eggers' first film, but that's not necessarily a critique, though it didn't necessarily give me like absolute horror. Like it was more thrilling. It was a bit more creepy. Like I guess then again, a lot of his films aren't necessarily horror, though they are horror. Either way, it was an enjoyable time. And I love that they committed to the fact that, you know what, these are early American settlers, so they are still going to have really thick Yorkshire accents. And that was great. Then it was release date for Tron Ares. I'm probably going to pick up a lot of flack for this, but this was a 4 out of 5 for me. I really enjoyed it. I'm a big Tron nut. Got to see it in IMAX 3D. It's absolutely the way to watch this. It looks incredible. It sounds incredible. Granted, Tron Legacy, you know, did better with costumes and stuff. We're in 2025, so everything's got to be CGI, and you could really see that in certain shots. But it didn't stray away from being a really fun film. For all his flaws, I think Leto did really, really well as Ares in this. Soundtrack was great, and Evan Peters is just great. I'm really excited to see him bridging into more roles and getting more into mainstream stuff. So if you haven't checked it out already, I'm sure it's going to be on Disney Plus relatively soon. At least give Tron Ares a go. Then this was another cinema trip, so that was, yeah, 3 days in a row. It was a busy busy time in the cinema. This is just a representation. We saw The Corpse Bride, and this was the 20th anniversary screenings. Another one for horror season. Had to pick up the 4K after seeing the new 4K restoration in the cinema because it is brilliant. Corpse Bride is a win-win for me. It's a 4 out of 5, and you know what? There's been a lot of 4 out of 5s this month. It's been a relatively good month for good movies. Check out The Corpse Bride. Then got back to the 31 Days of Halloween and did a little bit of a clean-up day on a Sunday with a triple feature. First film up was Hocus Pocus. Nice and easy, 4 out of 5. It's a classic. It is a classic. It has to be watched at Halloween. And the DVD didn't disappoint of giving you those Halloween-y, old-timey vibes. Next was The Sixth Sense. This is a 4.5 out of 5 for me. Phenomenal M. Night Shyamalan film. Just a great time. Haley Joel Osment is phenomenal. Can't really say any more than that. Go watch it. Then to round out the day and continue on the Leto weekend, we watched Urban Legend. This is a good old late 90s slasher. It's a 2.5 out of 5. It's not breaking any ground, but it is an enjoyable ride. It has twists and turns, it has questionable acting, but I really enjoyed it. And you know what? I didn't expect the killer to be the killer. It has quite the interesting twist, in my opinion. Probably a lot of people already guessed it, but I like to be going in a little bit stupid to twisty horror films, but Urban Legend is a good time for the spooky season. Next, another 31 Days of Horror, and that was Black Sheep. I've already gushed about this edition in my What I Bought in October. If you want to check out me gushing about it, watch it up there. This is another 4 out of 5 film for me. I love this. It's such a fun time. It's such a fun horror comedy. Like, it is no notes. It's not a 5-star. It's a 4 out of 5 because, you know, I'd be remiss to give it a 5-star. Maybe I should give it a 5-star because I really enjoy it. But Black Sheep is a great time if you haven't checked it out. This is the 4K edition from Umbrella Entertainment. You can get it on DVD, and I believe there's a Blu-ray, but it's quite expensive in the UK. This is the definitive way because Umbrella have done a smashing job on the 4K of it. Next up after Black Sheep was actually a recommendation from one of you guys, one of the subscribers. So Dan, big shout out to you for recommending this, and that was K-pop Demon Hunters. Now, initially after first watching it, this was a 3.5 out of 5. And there was nothing necessarily wrong with it. Like, the animation is beautiful, the songs are quite catchy, and you know what? I'm glad that everyone is super hyped out of it. 3 weeks down the line, I'm reminiscing and going, you know what? Actually, that was done really well, and this was a really enjoyable time. And actually that song's been kind of stuck in my head for quite a while, so I think I'm gonna have to rewatch it, and that kind of seems like the thing that it gets you in and then you start rewatching it. But if you haven't watched it, it is an absolute global powerhouse at the moment. Like, you kind of can't go anywhere without seeing K-pop Demon Hunters stuff. Go check it out. It's on Netflix if you have a Netflix subscription. But thank you, Dan, for actually pushing me to watch it. And you're probably going to see it in what I watched in November, because I'm going to check it out again and to dive into that world a little bit more. Next up was Return of the Living Dead. Now, this has been featured in a couple of videos so far. This one, What I Bought, and then obviously its own standalone review. So go check it out on the channel. I don't want to bore you by gushing about it again. This is a 4 out of 5. It's a great transfer. Just a great zombie movie. Brains. Another 31 Days of Halloween, and that was Bone Tomahawk. Now, this was really highly recommended. Like, a lot of people have been saying how good this is. It's from the same director as Brawl in Cell Block 99 with Vince Vaughn, which I'm still yet to check out, but is apparently very good. Unfortunately, Bone Tomahawk just didn't hit for me. It's 2 out of 5. It was really slow. Like, and I'm fine with a slow burn. as long as we get somewhere. But this was like chugging along at such a pace that it just kind of didn't hit the mark properly for me. There is a couple of like quite heavily gory scenes, but there is a heavy gore bit that people talk about that if you didn't see this film first, Terrifier did it better. Well, I don't even necessarily know if they did it better, but Terrifier did it, so it didn't have the same shock value. Either way, it might be your thing. If it's free on streaming somewhere, maybe check it out, but it's a long slog. I wouldn't necessarily, you know, go out my way to see it. Then just needed a little bit of respite from all of the horror that was going on, so watched Kung Fu Hustle. This is just a Blu-ray steelbook. It looks great on Blu-ray, and I absolutely love the design of it. It's just a stupid little kung fu film. There's nothing really that serious about it, but it's a really fun time, and it's definitely the respite that I needed to kind of get me through that second half of horror films within October. This is a long video, isn't it? Like, this is this is a slog to say the least. We're nearly there though, and by nearly there I mean these films watched on the 19th of October, so we're past the halfway point, which is good. And you go in, these films, well, yeah, there's still a chunk more to go. So if you're still watching, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, comment down below what was your favorite film that I've watched in the first half of this video, and then at the end you can tell me what your favorite one was from the end of the month, and then we'll have two fun things. Great time, because it's October and you know there's still social activities to be happening. This weekend went to a wonderful scare maze to get spooky in person. That was a great time, but it did mean that it was out for all of Saturday. So the Sunday of this weekend we watched 4 films, which was a slog and a half, but you know, we ended up getting there. First up was Children of the Corn. This is of course the Stephen King adaptation from the 80s, and as I noted, creepy kid performances. This kind of tries to do it, but they're a bit more hammy than creepy. It's not a bad film, it is just of its time. It was a 2 out of 5 for me. I don't think I'll be revisiting it, but it was certainly a good one to tick off as it is a cult classic that I'd never seen. Then we had Saw 2, which personally is my favourite in the Saw franchise. I think it just hits all the beats correctly. It has a great another twist in the end. I'm really hoping that we're getting some Saw 4K releases, because there's been quite a few in the States that have been happening recently. Come on, Lionsgate, let's get on it. But either way, it's been a few years since I've revisited this and it still holds up. It's still a really, really good time. Hammy acting, mental traps, Donnie Wahlberg is just chewing the scenery throughout all of it. And it's also got Dina Meyer, who plays Dizzy in Starship Troopers. And I don't know why I've just stricken from my record, but rewatching it, I was like, oh my God, it's Dizzy? What? Then was I Saw the TV Glow. There was a lot of hype around this when it came out in 2024, and I tried to steer clear of watching any trailers, so I didn't really know what was going on. And I must say, the vibe was absolutely immaculate. It is shot beautifully. I love what it's going for. But as you saw, it was a 2.5 out of 5, because unfortunately it lost me in the second act, and it only really picks up near the end with a phenomenal last bit of a performance from Justice Smith. Now, personally, the topics that are covered in this film don't resonate with me, but I can understand why people would love this film and hold it very dearly in the heart. Unfortunately, it just didn't hit right with me. Still not a bad movie. Like I said, just loses it in the middle for a little bit, but I would recommend checking it out at least. And the final film of that day was The Florida Project. Once again, I've got a full video on it. If you want to hear me gush about The Florida Project for like 15 minutes, this is a 5 out of 5. I absolutely adore this movie from start to finish. It is just, I love it. I love The Florida Project. If you haven't watched it, go and check it out right now. After this video, then go and check it out after watching the clips on YouTube about War of the Worlds, but Florida Project. Then checked out the Rocky Horror Picture Show. This is a 4K steelbook, so you kind of got to watch it at Halloween, especially now that a 4K has come out. This is just a great time. I did find it quite interesting watching it after I Saw the TV Glow, with the topics that are covered in I Saw the TV Glow, and then seeing what could be said as semi-similar topics covered 50 years ago in Rocky Horror, and how just absolutely unequivocally open this film is. And have we regressed in such a way that 50 years later you just can't be exactly who you want to be? It is quite upsetting to think in that way. All in all though, Rocky Horror is an absolute ride. If for some reason in the last 50 years that this has been released you haven't checked it out, go and do it. Don't try and understand it, just watch it and bask in how phenomenal it is. Then back onto 31 Days of Halloween after a day off, watched The Loved Ones. Now this is an Australian horror film. Absolutely makes me feel super uncomfortable with the gore and then the relationships of certain characters in it. Absolutely need to watch it though. Like, I think I've watched this twice in the last year. It's that good. 3.5 out of 5. Really, really well done, well put together, relatively short horror film. Then watched Inside. This is a French horror film which I didn't know anything about going in. I'm kind of glad that I didn't, but oh my god, the gore and just the it will make your skin crawl. It's 3.5 out of 5 from me. It was a good horror movie, but wow, there are bits in it that are just no. And because of that, the next film I watched was Reanimator. This is another one off the 31 Days of Halloween. I just, as you probably know, when I talked about Dolls, this is the same director who did Dolls that I watched last month, and I was really excited for this. This did not disappoint at all. It's a 4 out of 5 from me. Just a fun time. Like, yeah, just like a really fun time. It is absolute batshit crazy. Like, yeah, wow. There is a 4K coming from Second Sight in December, and you know I pre-ordered that because I can't wait to see it in 4K. We're finally starting to wind down because by this part of the month, the kind of final week, I was getting burnt out by feature lengths. There was a lot of stuff going on personally, and then also having to sit down and watch films. I was just like, my God, I'm exhausted. I am so privileged to be in a position that I can go, oh, can't be bothered to watch this film. But wow, it's been a busy month. But final few. Frighteners. This was another 31 Days of Halloween. This is a really cool, like, landscape steelbook design, and it's got the house on the back. Like, if you haven't seen The Frighteners, go watch The Frighteners. It's got Michael J. Fox in, and all of the glare possible on that side of things. It is just a fun time. It's directed by Peter Jackson, so if you wanted to see what Peter Jackson did before Lord of the Rings, it was this. He was a little horror boy. It is just an absolute classic. I love The Frighteners. Where's the 4K? Then after The Frighteners, we checked out Under the Skin. This is a Jonathan Glazer film starring Scarlett Johansson. It's 3.5 out of 5 for me. It is a very interesting movie. It is slow, but not in a, well, honestly, it's probably slower than Bone Tomahawk that I was moaning about, but it keeps you wondering throughout, and then you see various things happen and you're like, right, okay, what's going on there, blah 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 blah. It is a really interesting adaptation of the book. Doing a little bit of reading on it after, it does deviate quite heavily from that side of things, but this was a really very interesting time. One of those films that you feel like you need to watch again and again just to really digest and find out what's going on. But under the skin, would recommend it. Next up, another 31 Days of Halloween. That was Gerald's Game. Another strong 3.5 out of 5 from me. This is from director Mike Flanagan, who is just effectively like being preached as the new king of horror, and I kind of get it. This film is tense, it's a thriller, it has some of the like best snippets of body horror that I've seen in a very long time, and it's such a quick part, well, not a quick part, it's such a small part of the movie where that happens, but it sits with you and it just makes you feel so nasty because you know what's coming and your brain goes, wait a minute, if you do that then this is going to happen, and then you see everything and yeah, wow. But a really good time. This was a Netflix movie, so it's available on there. Would absolutely recommend checking out Gerald's Game if you haven't already. Then my kind of mission for the month was to see Frankenstein in the cinemas before it got onto Netflix, because I'm a big Del Toro fan and I needed to see this on a big screen rather than in my living room. As you saw, this was a 5 out of 5. It is only my second 5-star film from 2025. So you can probably guess how much I adored it. The acting in it is phenomenal. The sets look great. I did see something online where people were moaning that Frankenstein looks like it's filmed on sets. And just to note on that, surely it is better for a film to look like it's filmed on sets than it is to be just a big CGI mess, right? Like there was massive like manors and mansions that they were clearly inside of or was clearly made, and I know that I would take that over just watching CGI slot backgrounds every day of the week, and you know that it's going to hold up in 10-20 years. Like Frankenstein is one of those timeless stories that you want to be able to watch and rewatch and rewatch. It is a chunky old film coming in at 2.5 hours, but it keeps you captivated in that world for every single bit of it. Unfortunately, by the time that this has come out, I believe that it would have gone out of cinemas, but if you do have a look around and you have the chance to check out Frankenstein in theatres, definitely do. If not, watch it on Netflix. I'm crossing my fingers that we get a Criterion release of it on 4K. Then watched Ozzy Osbourne Coming Home. This is a BBC documentary that's just been released around Ozzy Osbourne's kind of final last few years and moving back to the UK. There isn't much that I can say about this. It's just a very interesting and well put together documentary that if you are a fan of the Osbournes, then I would recommend watching it. Then it was another secret screening at our local Cineworld, and this one was for Shelby Oaks. This is Chris Stuckman's feature directorial debut, and I really enjoyed this. It's presented by Mike Flanagan. There is a really good relationship that Stuckman and Flanagan have. I thought this was a very interesting take. Some of the kind of online criticism or reviews of it does note that it should have stuck with the fan footage side of things, which I kind of can't argue with. I think it might have been an interesting or a more interesting movie if they did that kind of mockumentary style throughout. But it had some good twists and turns. There was a good amount of gore in there as well. For a first film out of the gate from this director, it gets 2 thumbs up from me. Right, final few now. Next, we've got Halloween Town. This was just watched while carving pumpkins just before Halloween, because if you're carving pumpkins, you got to watch Halloween Town, right? It's just a wholesome Disney movie. It's available on Disney Plus. Go check it out. Then I've been listening to the Blank Check podcast's Sam Raimi run, and in this they noted a documentary that was done for the BBC, which is In Search of Steve Ditko. So I checked this out. It's basically just a Jonathan Ross with loads of different interviews with, unfortunately, a couple of people that are a bit questionable now due to things that have come out, but it's a very interesting documentary around Steve Ditko and how he created Spider-Man. The whole thing's available on YouTube. I don't know if it's available on BBC, but it's available on YouTube to watch if you're interested in comics and comic book history. The final secret screening at our local Cineworld was Terrifier 3. Unfortunately, this was billed as a classic secret screening, and I'm just putting it out there. Terrifier 3, however much I enjoy it, came out 12 months ago. That ain't a classic. But, you know, it's Terrifier. It is what it is. And the final film that was watched for Halloween, it's one off the 31 Days of Horror, and that is The Crow. This is a 4K steelbook. It's a reissue for the 30th anniversary edition. I love The Crow. Like, it's a great Brendan Lee performance. It's just, you know, it is questionable that if Brendan Lee didn't sadly pass away while making it, would this have such or be put in such high regard? I personally really enjoy it though. I've grew up with this film. I watched it so many times, and this has turned into like a yearly watch, so I'm really glad that I've got the 4K here. Then just a final quick fire round of TV shows. Finished Always Sunny in Philadelphia season 17, so I'm all done with It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Absolutely stuck the landing. Really enjoyed season 17. That was at the start of October, so it's kind of a distant memory as it were now. Also watched and finished Peacemaker season 2. Really enjoyable season, though the final episode didn't quite stick the landing, but it has opened a lot of questions for what is going to be happening in this new DC universe. Also been watching the latest season of Hell's Kitchen, which just a good time for a reality show. And then also the Celebrity Traitors UK. First time I've watched The Traitors. This is also a really good show. When this goes up, the finale will be airing probably in a couple of hours. So, I wonder who's going to win. Is it going to be the Faithful or is it the Traitors? Who knows? And that is everything. Wow. If you are still here after watching this absolute bumper episode of what I watched, give yourself a little, you know, a round of applause, a clap. Thank you so much for watching this episode. My feet are hurting from being stood here, but thank you so much for watching this episode of Cue the Credits. Like I said, midway through, what was your favourites from like the start and then the end of the month of this this video? What was your favourite thing that you watched? Did you manage to check out any spooky films in the cinema, or have you been just like hoveling in a blanket wrapped up? I'd love to know about it in the comments down below. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, do all of that YouTubey stuff. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Cue the Credits, and until next time, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace!